What's poppin', y'all? Welcome back to another episode of NBA Weekly. I'm your host, Pee Wee the Plug, and in today's episode, we're going to be reacting to one new trade idea for every NBA team. First and foremost, I want to say happy Thanksgiving, everyone. I hope everyone had a wonderful night last night, and I want to say safe travels to everybody heading back home. Thanksgiving passing, though, means we're a lot closer to December 15th, which is a key day in the NBA, where everybody who was signed in the offseason is now eligible to be traded. So a lot more traction, rumors, and player movement, potential of player movement increases and goes up. So without further ado, let's dive into these trade ideas. Let's get it. Now, before we dive in, I want to give a quick shout out to Greg Schwartz. I believe this is the second article of his we reacted to about trades. I love trades. Y'all love trades. So shout out to Greg for keeping us locked in with all of the trade content. First trade that we have is the Atlanta Hawks. The Atlanta Hawks received Jordan Clarkson, Kelly Olynyk, a 2025 second-round pick, and the Utah Jazz received John Collins. Now, I will say at first glance, I love this trade for the Atlanta Hawks. They're getting a scoring punch in Jordan Clarkson off of the bench. I think he can coexist in the backcourt with either DeJounte or Trae Young, depending on if somebody's in foul trouble, missing a game, needs some rest, whatever. I think he can fit with either one of those guys in the backcourt for sure. And then you get some front court versatility. I feel like the Hawks right now don't have that big that can really stretch the floor at a reliable rate. And I think when you have Clint Capella, Okongwu, they're looking for that guy who can knock down some shots and allow them to be very versatile. They have the kind of wings to do so, but I think Olynyk really gives you a five who can space the floor and at times could also be on the floor coexisting with a Clint Capella. John Collins hasn't really knocked down that perimeter shot at the level or the rate that they would like or that we've seen from him in the past, and it's been hard for him to really find a role offensively with DeJounte and Trae Young in that backcourt. So this trade in that sense makes sense to me. I like the Jazz getting John Collins because as we've seen with a lot of other players, Jordan Clarkson being one, Jared Vanderbilt, Kelly Olynyk, Lauri Markkanen, this fresh new scene and team has brought alive a lot of these guys and allowed them to kind of find themselves in their identity in the league. And maybe the Utah Jazz can offer that same thing to John Collins too. But the one thing I will say about this trade, everything the Jazz have done in recent memory has come with the intent of getting some type of draft capital. And with the size of John Collins' contract, it's hard for me to picture this trade happening without the Jazz receiving some type of draft capital. So for the Hawks to be the only team in this that gets some type of draft pick is kind of mind-boggling because we know if the Jazz are involved in any trades going further, they want some type of draft pick. They're going to want a first-round pick of some sorts. So that's my only thing that I would have to nitpick with. Also, the fit of Lauri Markkanen and John Collins in the same front court. Don't even know if that's on the Jazz radar or mine. They may not care at all. But some of those things stand out for me within this trade. But ultimately, I love it for the Atlanta Hawks side and what it would do for them. And I would give this trade probably like a B or a B- for me personally. The next trade that we have is the Boston Celtics. So the Boston Celtics receive Mike Muscala. Oklahoma City Thunder receive a 2023 second-round pick via the Portland Trail Blazers. I guess it's a cool trade. You know, like I said, for the Atlanta Hawks, this just gives the Boston Celtics a guy who can be versatile in the front court, knock down some perimeter shots as a big, maybe play small ball five. You know, their offense has been one of the best in the NBA. This only makes them stronger with Jason Tatum and Brown on the wings attacking and being able to have a guy like Mike Muscala spacing the floor. You might even be able to have a lineup where you have Al Horford and Muscala out there, and now you can just do five out. So I like this trade for them. I don't think this makes or breaks them, but definitely, you know, another weapon that can be able to space the floor for the Boston Celtics wouldn't hurt them. They're really missing Robert Williams because that defense hasn't looked like the Celtics defense we got accustomed to seeing last year. But as long as their offense is doing what it's doing, I think the defense will be all right until Robert Williams comes back because they're one of the best teams, if not the best team in the NBA right now. And, of course, Oklahoma City gets some type of draft compensation. That's what they love. That's what they always want. Both teams are happy and move away. Next, the Brooklyn Nets. So we got the Brooklyn Nets receiving Kyle Lowry and Max Strus, and Miami Heat receiving Kyrie Irving. This, to me, would be a very good trade because I'm very, very big on Max Strus. I just think he's a really good NBA player, fits in, has an identity, and he does what he does. He plays hard, knocks down perimeter shots, not afraid to defend, and he has that green light. He'll let it fly. I will say for the Heat, though, I don't think Kyrie comes in and fixes a lot of their problems. So this trade is kind of like taking some steps backwards. I think they really do need to address something. I like the way Caleb Martin has slid in at that 4. Jimmy's been in and out of the lineup. So it's a lot, Kyle Lowry hasn't been what they thought they were getting. But I don't know if Kyrie Irving is the answer to those problems. You're going to get him on the last year of his deal, so you have some type of green light with that, because Kyle Lowry, his extension or whatever was, I don't want to say nothing too crazy, but it's not exactly what they were expecting. And I know Max Strus is also going into a free agency year there. But again, I just don't know what it fixes for them. It's a cool move. Brooklyn gets an experienced point guard who'll probably be more reliable as far as being there, and they can move on from the Kyrie situation. And Max Strus is a really good NBA player that I think fits well next to a guy like Kevin Durant, where he's going to guard, knock down shots or whatnot. But again, for the Miami Heat specifically, I just don't know. I don't know if it fixes their problems. And to me, if you're not fixing a problem, then you might as well keep what you have and try to address the situations of what's going on different. But the Miami Heat do need a shakeup. I am going to say I hope to see them in this article again with a better trade, because this is kind of like a C to me. I just don't know what acquiring Kyrie really does for the Miami Heat, and I would prefer to see Kyrie finish the season with the Nets. They passed the situation. He opted in. They're looking a little better with the coaching change, and I would love to see that go forward and progress. I know the Nets probably want to get over with the situation, but again, I don't know if the Heat are accepting this deal, because I don't know what it does for them. The Nets definitely get better. I can definitely see them getting better. They get some added depth, but again, for the Miami Heat, I don't know. I don't know if I like this. I give this like a C-. Next, we have the Charlotte Hornets. So the Charlotte Hornets receive Russell Westbrook, Max Christie, a 2023 second-round pick, and the Lakers receive Gordon Hayward and Mason Plumlee. Now, the Lakers walk away with a very, very big W because they get another wing. They've needed wing help with size and shooting. They get exactly that in Gordon Hayward. And then more front court help with Mason Plumlee, who could play with Anthony Davis, back Anthony Davis up. And then the Hornets get Russell Westbrook on the last year of his deal. They get another young player in Max Christie and a second-round pick. I'll get this around a C+. The only reason I won't like it is because I do want to see Russell Westbrook and the Lakers go out together. This helps the Lakers a lot. This helped the Lakers a lot. They get rid of Russ, and then they get 2 extremely good players who I think can help them. But the only thing I would say is it enough draft compensation for the Hornets to take on Russell Westbrook? Max Christie, I like. He's from around the area or whatnot. But Russell Westbrook has always been attached with picks. The Pacers and every other team that they've been linked to is always about the picks, the first-round picks. So to now go from that to now all you're getting is a 2023 second-round pick is a bit head-scratcher. I know the Hornets probably want to wash their hands with the Gordon Hayward situation and the money, which is what the Lakers would probably communicate. But some type of first-round pick definitely would be urged if I was running the Hornets. I would try to nudge and budge until I could get that first-round pick, just because it's always been a tied in with Russell Westbrook. But overall, the deal is cool. I think Russell Westbrook goes over there. LaMelo can chill and rehab his injuries. And Russell Westbrook just goes full throttle to try to show he has still some value in the NBA. I personally, like I said, like him with the Lakers coming off the bench, just because I think it shows that Russell Westbrook still has a lot more in the tank in the NBA. I didn't want teams to have the thing of saying, Russell Westbrook can only be successful as the guy. When with the Lakers, he's showing he can start, come off the bench, and he can still thrive as one of those guys. And I think that'll give him a second leg in his career, kind of like Melo. When Melo didn't want to come off the bench for the Thunder, then he went to the Rockets, and then he kind of had that moment where they was trying to X him out the league. And then the next time he got his opportunity with the Blazers, he was off the bench, showing that he could be a scoring punch and a role player and be an effective player off the bench in that role. And it was able to get him some extra years in the league with some other teams. And I'm still surprised that Melo isn't picked up right now, but I'm hoping that the Lakers situation can open up those type of opportunities with Russell Westbrook going forward. All in all, like I said, though, I'll get this like a B. I think the Lakers really, really get better and improve with Gordon Hayward and Mason Plumlee. But how much can they improve? The Lakers championship or bust, man. Championship or bust. And I think they need some more guard play. Chicago Bulls. The Bulls received Jay Crowder, and the Phoenix Suns received Kobe White and my boy Marco, who was killing in the summer league. So shout out to Marco. I like it for the Bulls. I do not like this for the Suns. This is like the Suns just really trying to force a way to just find any trade for Jay Crowder. Kobe White hasn't really shown much with the Bulls. There's so many guards there, and I feel like Phoenix has campaign, and I want to see Phoenix get the 4. They need a 4 in return if they're going to lose Jay Crowder, which is why I like the 3-team trade that would have got them John Collins. They have to find a 4 because if you do this trade, you give up your 4. Cam Johnson is out for the season. You have Book, McHale, Aiden. You just have a couple holes you got to punch. Chris Paul is going to be there for the playoffs, and you have Campaign backing him up, who's been a spark for you guys. Who's going to be that 4 for them? Dario Saric or whatever, I don't know. So I want to see them address that. I don't know what Kobe White does for the Suns specifically. So with that being said, I give this like a C plus because I feel like Jay Crowder would help the Bulls. But I think the Suns, if they're going to do any type of trade with Jay Crowder, they have to find a way to replace him at that 4, especially with Cam Johnson's injury. So I'm going to get that one a C. That one's real light. Cleveland Cavaliers received Matthew Dellavedova, and the Sacramento Kings received Dylan Windler. This is I just feel like they're just adding the Cavs in the article somehow, some way. The Cavs need wings that they can rely on. But I love the fact that the Sacramento Kings get another sniper in Dylan Windler. The way my boy Kevin Huerter has been shooting, getting another sniper, giving him some minutes and see if he can just knock down threes will fit right in with what the Kings are doing. Dellavedova goes back to the Cavs while they continue to wait for Rubio. But this trade is neither here nor there. It just feels like the Cavs needed to be added to the article. So I'm going to get this a C- at best. Next, we have the Dallas Mavericks. The Dallas Mavericks receive Jakob Poeltl, and the San Antonio Spurs receive Josh Green, JaVale McGee, a 2025 second-round pick. So the Mavericks, they get better because I love Jakob. I think Jakob is one of the most underrated centers in the game. But Josh Green has finally blossomed, finally showed some promise that the Mavericks and their fan base have been waiting for, and you have to part ways with him already. And I know he's been such a rejuvenation for the Dallas Mavericks team and their fan base because I've been a fan of his. And shout out to my boy Minor Reese. We've been waiting for Josh Green to put it all together, knock it down perimeter shots because we saw the flashes and we knew the role he would play off that bench for the Mavericks. So to see them have to part ways with him already, it's a little bittersweet. But I do think the Mavericks get a lot better with Jakob. JaVale McGee has been a disappointing start for him in the season with the Mavericks. I thought he was going to be an X factor for them. So to get Jakob out of that situation, wash your hands with the JaVale thing. You only really give up a second-round pick, and you have a team that's probably, Luka, Tim Hardaway Jr., or Spencer Dinwiddie, Reggie Bullock, Dorian Finney, and Jakob. And now you still off the bench have Christian Wood, Maxi Kleber, Dwight Powell, Tim Hardaway Jr., such and such. So I like this move for the Mavericks. I think Jakob could fit right in with a Luka pick and roll, and he can play, make, and pass off the elbow. So I like this move a lot for the Mavericks. I'm gonna give this a B for the Spurs. You do exactly what you're trying to do. You get younger. I do think at this point Jakob is worth a first-round pick. That's just me. But you get Josh Green, and JaVale McGee will go right back into free agency once the year is done. You get younger, you get worse, and you get a higher draft pick to try to get Victor or Scoop. Spurs are just doing Spurs thing. Next, we have the Denver Nuggets. Jakob back-to-back trades. The Denver Nuggets receive Jakob Poeltl, and the San Antonio Spurs receive Christian Brown, who I like, Zeke Naji, and Jeff Green. The Nuggets having a backup center of Jakob Poeltl would be outrageous with how good Jokic already is. And the Spurs, again, they get a nice young piece in Christian Brown. Zeke Naji is nice as well, so they continue to get younger. But I personally, if I'm the Spurs, I need a first-round pick. The way this dude has been playing, and if you're the Nuggets and you can get a starting center to be the backup with you, this is dangerous. And Jokic is so versatile. You might play him at the 4. Don't know which one's guard the perimeter. But damn, to have Jakob off the bench with Bones Highland, Bruce Brown, the Nuggets they turn to something that's going to be, hard to match up with in the playoffs. So I like this trade, but again, I don't like what the Spurs are getting. And I think with how valuable Jakob has showed himself this season, you need a first-round pick. I give this a C+. You need a first-round pick if you're San Antonio. It just is what it is. Detroit Pistons received Luke Kennard, who drafted him in the first place. And the Clippers received Nerlens Noel and Corey Joseph. I like this for the Clippers because they get some rim protection and some size in the front court for Nerlens Noel. And it's always good to have a strong veteran head steady point guard like Corey Joseph. And then the Pistons get a sniper. We've seen what Bogdanovich has been able to do with Cade and Ivy. And Luke Kennard being over there back in Detroit would be another sniper for them to have to mesh with their attacking guards. Obviously, Cade is out for the rest of the year. And the Clippers really do need some size in their front court. And they do have a couple of players on the wing that are disposable for trades. I personally like what Luke Kennard adds to this team, especially when it comes to the playoffs, having a real sniper. But if he's the only thing you have to really get back somebody like Nerlens Noel, I guess you got to do what you got to do. I give this a C+, just because it's like, damn, you got to get rid of Luke Kennard, and then you giving him back to the Pistons? Tough. Golden State Warriors. Okay, here we go. Golden State Warriors receive Wendell Carter. And the Orlando Magic receive James Wiseman and Jonathan Kuminga. This is the first time in this video where I'm going to read what Greg Schwartz has written up, because I need to understand this. He says, off to a woeful 8-10 start, the Warriors are getting killed when they turn to their young guys this season. Wiseman's absence last year may have been a blessing in disguise, as his potential has yet to lead to winning basketball. If Golden State wants to keep some youthful talent on the roster but still win games, getting a player like Carter would be a good compromise. The 23-year-old is already in his fifth pro season, averaging 16, 9, and 3, and shooting 34% from 3 for Orlando. He'd be a huge upgrade over Wiseman with plenty room for growth. Orlando is still very much in a rebuild and should only have Paolo and Franz as untouchable right now. Getting 2 former top 7 picks in Wiseman and Kuminga would increase the team's ceiling overall, allowing both time to develop without the pressure of chasing the championship right away. At the start of the season, I may have been like, you know what, this is solid. But seeing James Wiseman to start the season with the Warriors and everything Greg said about the youth in Golden State, I probably wouldn't do it if I'm Orlando. I probably just stay where I'm at with Wendell, Franz, and Paolo. That front court is immaculate, and I love it. And it has so much hope and potential, especially with whatever pick they're going to get that they can add, or Jonathan Isaac getting healthy. You know, this Orlando Magic team has a lot of young talent. I don't know if I want to trade Wendell for James Wiseman, who hasn't showed me any signs of winning basketball. Any. He just had to go back to the G League. With all due respect, at this point, you don't really want to have a player that has to go back to the G League because of the things he can't do on a team like Golden State. And then I know you like Jonathan Kuminga. There's certain things there. But again, you have so many wings and guys at the position Jonathan Kuminga plays for. It's like I would probably just stay pat with Wendell Carter. I really would. But if there was any world where this was able to happen and the Warriors could get Wendell Carter, the Warriors probably regain me as a person that has them as one of the favorites. Wendell Carter with the Warriors is unfair, in my opinion. But I wouldn't do it if I'm Orlando. I get this trade a B- for the Golden State Warriors' sake, but this is an F for the Magic. Instead of getting these two guys, I'd rather just stay where I'm at. I'd rather just stay where I'm at, if I'm being honest. That's just me, though. Houston Rockets. The Houston Rockets receive Josh Green, Davis Bertans, and the Mavericks receive Eric Gordon. Again, I like Eric Gordon. I think he's cool, but I'm not giving up Josh Green for him. For Jakob Poeltl, yeah, but for Eric Gordon, no. And the Houston Rockets is of course, this is the type of trades that they should be trying to do. You get somebody who's showing some flashes with some youth, fits right into what you're doing, and you just continue to pile up the young talent and any draft assets that you can get. But for me, I'm cool on Eric Gordon if I'm the Mavericks. Eric Gordon don't get you Josh Green. I'd rather just keep my young guy. I get this one like a C+. But I'm not doing it if I'm Dallas. Not at all. Indiana Pacers. Pacers receive John Collins. Atlanta Hawks receive Buddy Hield and Jalen Smith. I think this is a fair trade. I like this. The 4 position for the Pacers has been up and down with Jalen Smith, Isaiah Jackson, and whatnot. I think John Collins could fit right in with a Tyrese Halliburton and what they're doing as far as the pick and roll. You have a center like Miles Turner who already spaces the floor. Pacers, I hope you're thinking about keeping him. And then the Atlanta Hawks, you get a certified floor spacer who could play with and without DeJounte and Trey and Buddy Hield. And then Jalen Smith is a young power forward who, can knock down some shots here and there, may rebound. He just has to get consistent and find some consistencies within his game. But Buddy Hield will be a true sniper. And you could get away with playing a lineup of Trae Young, DeJounte, Buddy, Hunter, and then Clint. And then you have everybody else come off the bench. Now, I know a lot of y'all like, who the hell is Trae and Buddy guarding? But that's just the price Atlanta is trying to pay to be able to space the floor out and allow their guards in the backcourt to really get busy. I give this one a B+ because I just think John Collins fits so well with Tyrese Halliburton, and it seems like that's a place where he can really find his footing because John Collins is a very good basketball player, and he is an underrated 4 since he's been in the league. But he just has to find a role that fits him and allows him to play his brand of basketball. So I like that trade overall. Los Angeles Clippers. The Clippers receive Miles Turner, and the Pacers receive Luke Kennard, Jason Preston, 2023 and 2024 second-round picks. With how Miles Turner has played, again, like I've said for the Spurs and Jakob Poeltl, I need a first-round pick back. And if the Clippers don't have any first-round picks to give y'all, we can't do the trade. There's a lot of teams that will line up to have Miles Turner, especially with the way he's played. So if you can't give me a first-round pick, I'm good. For the Clippers, this probably takes you to the championship. If the Clippers get this trade done, A+ for them. But for the Pacers, this is an F. There's no way you don't get the first-round pick. Hey, you can keep Luke Kennard. You can keep Preston. Give me a first-round pick. Second-round picks won't cut it for Miles Turner, and I know he's on the last year of his deal. It just won't cut it for me. He's playing too good, and he can change the entire course of a season for the Clippers or whatever other team that's in a playoff hunt trying to get him. I need a first-round pick. Next, we have the Lakers. The Lakers receive Garrison Matthews and Boban, and the Houston Rockets receive Kendrick Nunn, 2023 second-round pick. This is tough for me. The Lakers have been struggling. They got so much going on, and this is the trade we draw for them. No doubt Garrison Matthews gives them, a perimeter punch that they need from 3. But there are so many trades, in my opinion, that you can draw for the Lakers to really get them something better than this. They're not probably going to use Boban. Garrison Matthews hopefully goes over there and hits some shots. Kendrick Nunn, I don't know how he fits in with the Rockets. They have enough guys that are ball hogging over there. But, yeah, this just feels like a trade just to put them in the article. I think there's some other stuff out there that the Lakers could really do to bolster up their team and to get them on track. The Memphis Grizzlies receive Gary Harris. I love it. He gives me that grit and grind Grizzlies feel. I think he fits over there perfect. And the Orlando Magic receive a 2023 second-round pick in Danny Green. Yeah, if I'm the Grizzlies, I'm doing this immediately. Danny Green hasn't even played for y'all yet. I think Gary Harris fits. He's, a vet, but still kind of got some youthness to him. And he plays really, really good basketball, and he has the stretches where it's like, oh, that's Gary Harris from Denver. And if you're the Magic, you just get a second-round pick because you have all of these guards and wings you're trying to give minutes to anyway. You just make Gary Harris expendable, and you get some draft capital, and Danny Green can walk. I love this trade. I think it's an A-. This trade should happen. This trade should definitely happen. I like that trade a lot. Next, we have the Miami Heat. Miami Heat receives Davis Bertans. The Dallas Mavericks receive Duncan Robinson. So we just trading off snipers. The only difference is the Heat will be able to play Davis Bertans at power forward, which they can't get away with Duncan Robinson. And the Mavericks are going to have Duncan Robinson as a more movement shooter next to Luka, which they probably can't do with Davis Bertans. I swap it out. I guess this works with me. I give this a B. It's just a swap. Big contract shooters who just cannot find consistent minutes in a rotation for either one of these teams. Swap it out and see if one or the other works. This is last resort to me, though. If you're the Mavericks and you haven't found a trade to dump Bertans, you do this. If you're the Miami Heat and you just can't dump Duncan Robinson, you just do this. Just swap it out and try something new, and hopefully you find something out of it that was better than the previous one. Next, we got the Milwaukee Bucks. The Bucks receive Kenrich Williams. OKC receives MarJon Beauchamp. This is nice. I think Kenrich Williams at this point deserves to be on one of these playoff teams. He has a lot to offer to a team like the Milwaukee Bucks, and I think this is the Thunder's route of getting just young draft capital or young players who were just recently drafted. My only thing with OKC is, man, how much more younger can you continue to get? They're as young as it can be, and they have a decent 11 to 12 players who really should be getting minutes to develop. And they just keep adding youth. You got Poku, Jalen Williams. You have Ousmane Dieng, and now you would get Beauchamp. You got Trey Mann, Giddey, Dort, Shea. it's just so many bodies over there, Poku and Baisley, and I don't know. I don't know. It's becoming too much for me to keep up with. And I think it's kind of going to stunt the growth of some of those guys over there. But I do like this trade for Milwaukee, and I do think it's time for OKC to cash in on Kenrich Williams because he does play winning basketball that could translate over to a playoff team. Next, we have the Minnesota Timberwolves. They receive Alec Burks, and the Pistons receive Taurean Prince and Wendell Moore Jr. I do like this trade for the Timberwolves because Alec Burks is that combo guard that can go over there and relieve a lot of pressure off of everybody in that situation as far as Ant, D'Lo. You know what I'm saying? He can go over there and be a bucket getter. He can knock down perimeter shots. He can play make, penetrate and break down defenses and get, dump offs to Cat or Rudy. I like Alec Burks a lot, and I think he fits into a playoff team that needs a scoring punch off the bench or a bigger guard who can be a dual or combo, and I think he will boost them up a lot. And then the Pistons, you receive Taurean Prince, Wendell Carter, a nice young piece there. And all in all, it's a fair swap. Even exchange. Timberwolves need more help in the backcourt with guard play. Alec Burks does that. Pistons going to need more wings, as many as they can get. They get two of those, one being extremely young. Both teams walk away happy. I get it's a C+. Nothing major, but it does help the teams a little bit as far as the Timberwolves getting better. Next, we got the Pelicans. They receive Mo Bamba, and the Magic receive Jackson Hayes, Garrett Temple, and a 2024 second-round pick. I like this for the Pelicans just because they could use the ability of Mo Bamba being able to stretch out the floor, and I like it for the Magic because now that Bol has arrived and has kind of ushered in himself as a starting caliber player for them. I think it's time to part ways with Mo Bamba. The Magic have tried. They brought him back. He's shown flashes. It's just not all the way there. And now that you have Bol, Wendell, Paolo, wash your hands with it. Take on Jackson Hayes, Garrett Temple, get some draft capital. And the Pelicans got a guy that they can try to see if he can space out the floor and protect the rim while coexisting in the front court with Zion Williamson. Overall, this is a B right on the head. I think the Pelicans could walk away with a steal if everything works out. Next, we got my Knicks. The Knicks receive Reggie Bullock and Davis Bertans, and the Dallas Mavericks receive Derrick Rose and Evan Fournier. I'm going to be real and I'm going to be honest. I hate when teams do this. Why would we bring back Reggie Bullock when we already had him? And we bringing him back right now at a time where he can't really make a perimeter shot. Davis Bertans is just unplayable for a few teams. I don't want him to come to my team and be unplayable all of a sudden. I'd rather keep Derrick Rose and Evan Fournier. We already have the chemistry there, and maybe we can go a different direction. I just don't like what we're getting back in return. Yes, I think it helps the Mavericks a lot. I think Derrick Rose would be a very good guard off the bench to kind of replicate some of the things Jalen Brunson did. And Evan Fournier would fit well with Luka as far as just being able to catch and shoot the basketball from the perimeter. But for me personally, as a Knicks fan, I'd rather have what we have. I do think that there's some type of better trade out there than to get Reggie Bullock, who we had already, and Davis Bertans, who probably won't play for Tom Thibodeau. I know we need perimeter shooting, but I just don't see Bertans getting minutes for Tibbs. I just don't. I don't. It's just the truth. I give that like a D+. I'm going to be honest. I don't like that at all for my Knicks. Oklahoma City Thunder, they receive James Wiseman, and Golden State receives Kenrich Williams, 2023 second-round pick. More favorable between Dallas Mavericks and Miami Heat, yada, yada, yada. If I'm the Warriors, I kind of want a first-round pick. I know James Wiseman hasn't shown a lot or much, but with the Oklahoma City Thunder, he can reach his fullest potential. They have, plenty of space and opportunity in the front court, especially with no Chet. But then that's also why I probably wouldn't give you a first-round pick if I'm the Thunder, to be honest. But I think this is the type of trade for a team like the Thunder. It's just low risk, high reward. If they trade for him and nothing changes, all they gave up was Kenrich Williams, who they were going to trade anyway, and a second-round pick that ain't that valuable to them with all of the first-round picks that they have. And I think that there's a high chance that James Wiseman gets on track with a team like OKC, who's going to let him play, let him rock, let him do him. But, yeah, Kenrich Williams I like, but if I'm the Warriors, I want to cash in with my young talent that hasn't shown much. I want to get a step above Kenrich Williams. I do think Kenrich Williams helped, but if I'm cashing in my second overall pick and Jonathan Kuminga and all of these guys, I want to cash in and I want to get somebody a little bit above Kenrich Williams in my opinion, but I do think this is a B+ trade, especially for the Thunder side. Low risk, high reward, and 9 times out of 10 is going to work in their favor. Next, we got the Magic. They receive a 2027 first-round pick and Russell Westbrook. That's the first-round pick I was talking about in the Hornets trade. And the Los Angeles Lakers receive Gary Harris, Terrence Ross, and Jonathan Isaac. I actually like this trade. I think all three of those guys could help the Lakers. Haven't seen Jonathan Isaac playing forever, but I know what Gary Harris and Terrence Ross can do off that bench. And Gary Harris specifically could be a starting two for them. He was a guy that I was hoping the Lakers would try to sign in the offseason, but he went back to the Magic. And the Magic, you let Russell Westbrook rock out. You know, he's going to go right into free agency, but you let him rock out, help those young guys. He's going to spoon feed some of those bigs and just generate shots and easy looks time after time. I like this trade. I think it's a B+. The Lakers don't have to give up both of their first-round picks, and you just don't get the names. The Lakers do too much name chasing. Gary Harris may not be the name of Gordon Hayward or anything that they've been linked to, but I think Gary Harris gives them exactly what they need. And that's the type of mindset that the Lakers have to start using when they're making moves and acquisitions. Philadelphia, we got the Sixers receiving John Collins and Bogdan Bogdanovic, and the Hawks receive Tobias Harris, Matisse Thybulle, and Shake Milton. I like this a lot for the Philadelphia 76ers. They get a power forward who I think will fit in with Joel Embiid, and they also get Bogdan Bogdanovic, who I think off that bench is a really big scoring punch, especially when Philadelphia is 100% with James Harden, Tyrese Maxey. Holy cow. But then the Hawks receive Tobias Harris, Matisse Thybulle, and Shake Milton. I really like Shake Milton. Tobias Harris has been solid. He could be solid with the Hawks. Tobias Harris could be solid with the Hawks. I'm a little concerned with Matisse Thybulle and his ability to be playable, especially in the playoffs, because the Hawks are going to need people to knock down shots with DeJounte and Trae Young, pick and roll, and how much they penetrate. And then Shake Milton, I think, is underrated. But in all honesty, I think the Sixers finesse this. If this went down, this is an A+ for the Sixers, and this is more like a C- for the Hawks. It really depends on the Tobias Harris that they're getting, and if Tobias Harris can step up and be a consistent guy for the Hawks. It's tough because his situation in Philly has been up and down. But I think this really depends on the Tobias Harris that the Hawks are getting. I love it for the Philadelphia 76ers, though. A+ for the Sixers if they were able to make this happen. Next, we have the Suns. Tobias Harris, back-to-back deals. So the Suns receive Tobias Harris, Paul Reed, and Jaden Springer. And the Philadelphia 76ers receive Jay Crowder, Landry Shamet, Dario Saric, and Torrey Craig. I think this is one of the best trades I've seen all around. I think Tobias Harris would be a good fit for the Phoenix Suns. I think Paul Reed would be good off that bench for them. Jaden Springer, we haven't seen a lot of with the Sixers, but that's good pickup for the Suns. And then the Sixers get Jay Crowder. They get back Landry Shamet and Dario and Torrey Craig. The Sixers need a big boost to the bench, and they get a bunch of guys and bodies who could figure out roles for them for a deep playoff run. And Tobias Harris, I think he's kind of like an older version of Cam Johnson a little bit. So I think he fills that void perfectly for them. And I could see him being really, really well with a Chris Paul and Devin Booker led team out there in Phoenix. I like this trade a lot. This is probably my favorite trade I've seen in this entire article. A+ for this one. Y'all, we gonna write this one down. I hope this one happen. I really do. Next, we got the Portland Trail Blazers. They receive Isaiah Stewart and Rodney McGruder. And the Detroit Pistons receive Keon Johnson, Justice Winslow. Already no. I'm saying no. I think this is an F. With how Keon Johnson and Justice Winslow has turned themselves into bench pieces and role players for the Portland Trail Blazers, I'm not giving it up. Not for Isaiah Stewart and Rodney McGruder. Personally, I think this is a big time no. Justice Winslow has earned everything. Same with Keon Johnson. I think they mean too much for the Blazers. You're not getting anything too crazy or too big, so I'll just keep it. If that's just me. I don't like this trade at all. I love what the Portland Trail Blazers have done with those two guys. And at this point, I'm not giving it up for McGruder and Isaiah Stewart with all due respect. So I'm going to give this an F. F all the way around. Sacramento Kings we got next. They receive Reggie Bullock and JaVale McGee. And the Mavericks receive Richaun Holmes and Trey Lyles. I love this trade for the Mavericks because Richaun Holmes has kind of got lost in the sauce with the Kings, and I think he would be perfect with Luka and the Mavericks. I think he's been linked to them for the last couple years now. Like I said earlier, JaVale McGee hasn't had the season they thought he would. Go play with Mike Brown like you did when you were with the Warriors, and they get Reggie Bullock. Reggie Bullock will be a good perimeter 3-and-D guy for the Kings as they push into the playoffs. And I know Trey Lyles has had some moments with the Kings, but I can see him also fitting in with the Mavericks and getting some type of run as being somebody who can be a four who could space the floor a little bit and make some shots here and there. But Rashawn Holmes will be a very, very good get for the Mavericks, and I think they could turn his season around because he hasn't had the type of year we are accustomed to seeing him have with the King. Next, we got the Spurs. The San Antonio Spurs receive Kobe White and Derrick Jones Jr., and the Bulls receive Josh Richardson. Again, the Spurs have so many type of guards. They've been getting rid of so many. Primo, obviously, then Lonnie Walker, DeJounte. I kind of like everything that they got going on over there. I think there's another team out there that's in a real playoff hunt that will probably give you more for Josh Richardson. Kobe White and Derrick Jones Jr., for some reason, they don't feel like players that would stick with the Spurs or match what the Spurs are trying to do. So if I'm the Spurs, I'm looking somewhere else. I think there's a better trade out there for the Spurs based off how Josh Richardson has played this season. If the Bulls were able to get Josh Richardson, though, I think you have to give the Bulls a B+. He can go over there and help them a lot as far as perimeter shots, defensive versatility, and that's something they've been needing since Lonzo has been out, to be honest with you. So I'm going to give this one a C because I think the Spurs could get more, but I got to give it a B- for the Bulls because Josh Richardson will be a big-time get for them. Next, we got the Toronto Raptors. Boom, Josh Richardson again. The Raptors receive Josh Richardson, and the Spurs receive Malachi Flynn, Kim Birch, DJ Wilson, a 2023 and 2025 second-round picks. This is exactly what I'm saying. You get a lot more here. And these feel like players that can maybe stick a little bit with the Spurs as far as Malachi and Kim Birch. I don't know what happens with DJ Wilson, but then you also get 2 second-round picks that you wasn't getting from the Bulls. So you get all of that for Josh Richardson versus getting Derrick Jones Jr. and Kobe White. I like this trade a lot more. And, again, the Raptors, he helps a lot with perimeter defense, versatility, and three-point shooting. Can never have too much of that. Utah Jazz, they receive James Wiseman and Ryan Rollins, and the Golden State Warriors receive Kelly Olynyk in the 2025 second-round pick. Kelly Olynyk would actually be a really good fit for the Warriors, and I'm not sure if the Warriors would even have to give up James Wiseman to get someone like Kelly Olynyk. But, again, if you're the Jazz, these are the type of trades that you're trying to make. Kind of like the Thunder. You want low risk, high reward, where we're giving up stuff we're going to probably trade anyway, and you're hoping that he blossoms and you get a nice diamond in the rough or someone who got forgotten about, and he comes and emerges as a big prominent piece for you as far as your core, kind of like Larry Markkinen. And this is the type of trade that you want to do. For the Jazz, A+. For the Warriors, I say a B-. I do think, though, I'm being a little picky with the Warriors trades. They do have to start thinking about cashing in right now and competing in the moment, and not so much of, oh, I'm trying to get all of this stuff for James Wiseman, even though he hasn't shown much. It's the potential. At some point, you just got to cash in and take advantage of the players you have right now, like Steph Curry and the way he's been playing, to try to compete for another championship. And last but not least, we have the Washington Wizards receiving Terry Rozier, and the Hornets getting Rui Hachimura and Will Barton. I'm going to give this a straight-up F. If I am the Hornets, I want a lot more for Terry Rozier than Rui and Barton. Rui is going to be a restricted free agent. Don't know how that's going to pan out. I mean, he may not even be restricted. He might be unrestricted. I can't remember the situation with him and the Wizards. It's been weird. Will Barton also is going to go into free agency. Maybe that's a trade. You just wash your hands and you free up that money. But I love the way Terry Rozier has been hooping for the Hornets over the last couple of years, and I just think you can get somewhat more. There's got to be a team out there that's giving you more than just 2 players who might not be on your team next season, in my honest opinion. Now, the Wizards, he is the type of guard I think the Wizards have been looking for a very long time. You put Monte Morris back in his backup point guard position, and you have another firecracker who can get 30 on any given night with Beal, Porzingis, and Kuzma, and I think you may make a playoff push with this trade if you are the Wizards. So I give that a B for them. But if I'm the Hornets, this is a D. This is a D+. We can get so much more out there on the market. A lot of teams are looking for a Terry Rozier type player. So I don't know about that one for the Hornets. But that's it, man. That's a wrap for the video. Y'all let me know y'all thoughts in the comments about any of these trades, if they revolve around your favorite teams, favorite players. I'm a Knicks fan. I did not like the Knicks trade at all. So definitely let me know in the comments. And be sure to let me know any other articles or type of articles you would like to see me react to. As always, this is NBA Weekly. I am Pee Wee the Plug, and I'm out. Peace.